I've been selling on eBay for over 26 years, and I don't think I've ever seen a scam quite like this one, right? It uses AI in a way that I don't think most sellers are prepared for, and it's already showing up in the wild. This scam is extra annoying because it uses the same sort of AI technology that we've come to rely on to run our reselling business. That stuff's now being used against us, but I guess that was inevitable. Today, I'll show you exactly how this new scam works, how to spot it, and how to make sure you don't lose any money if and probably when it happens to you. So we're going to start by talking about one of the most common scams on eBay right now because it's related, which is the partial refund scam, and you've probably dealt with it before. This is where a buyer purchases something from you, and once it arrives, they claim there's a problem of some sort, like maybe it broke during shipment, or maybe there's a rip or a stain that you somehow missed. Basically, they say it's not as described in some way that you're pretty sure isn't the case. Then in so many words, they ask for some money back. Importantly, they don't want to return it. They want to keep it. They want a refund. Usually they use a line like, "What can we do about this?" And this scam works because a lot of sellers have been conditioned to fear their buyers, the fear of negative feedback or fear of account issues. So when a buyer pushes, sellers fold and give them what they want. And the savvier scammers know exactly how to push without crossing the line that gets them flagged. But here's the catch. Most smart sellers still ask for some sort of proof, right? If the buyer says a coffee mug broke in transit or the hoodie has a rip, the seller wants to see a photo, which makes sense. And this is where sellers try to stay smart and save money, right? If they get a photo and see that the mug actually is broken, they don't want to pay to have broken junk sent back to them. So once they see the photo and decide the item really is broken, they just refund the money and tell the buyer to throw it away. And I've done that a lot, and it used to be a smart policy, but not anymore, because now some scammy buyers are using AI to fake damage. They take a photo of the item that you just sent them and they run it through a free AI tool to make it look broken or ripped or scratched or whatever excuse they're using to demand some or all of their money back. Let me show you a few examples. I generated these just for this video. Nothing here is actually damaged. I just told AI to make it look like it was. So this first one, this is just an apple. This is my favorite coffee mug right here, this apple mug. I just told AI to make it look like the handle broke off, and this is what it came up with. And it's pretty convincing, to be honest. Now, if somebody sent me this, I would probably think they dropped it more than I thought that they were using AI to show that it was broken. But I'm just doing this to illustrate how effective it is to use AI to fake damage on an item. Like, look at that. That is really convincing. Here's a pair of Dickies jeans that I bought, I think about 5 of these at a garage sale. And I told AI to make it look like there was a big stain on the butt. And sure enough, it definitely looks like there's a stain on the butt. It's pretty convincing. Like, it's not just like, you can see it's transparent in places. Like the stain like goes with the folds in the clothing. Like it's pretty convincing. Like, you know, again, if I received this, I would be like, what's going on here? Like that definitely wasn't there before, but it might be enough to just scare some sellers into just refunding entirely. Or here's a Patagonia jacket. This is my own jacket. I just took it off and took a picture of it. Then I told AI to make it look like there's a hole in it, and this is what it came up with. And again, I don't know that somebody would actually try this specific trick, but I'm just trying to illustrate to you how effective using AI to fake damage is. Like that looks like a legitimate hole in the shirt that obviously is not there, right? AI generated that, so it's pretty crazy. Here's a camera lens. I accidentally took a fuzzy, blurry photo of this one, but then I told AI to go ahead and just make it look like there was a small crack in the lens. And not only did it clean up the blurriness in the photo, but it also put a very convincing crack on there. And so this one, again, like if I packed this thing well and I sent it off and somebody sent me this photo, I'd be like, I packed it well. I just don't think that would happen. But still, like very convincing what AI did here. Or here's another one. This is I have a bunch of these purifiers I got from that bulk buy from a few weeks ago. I was just having fun with this one. I told AI to completely destroy it, make it look like it was just torn apart and burned and damaged, and it did a very convincing job. It looked like this thing exploded from the inside. And again, if I got this photo from a buyer, I'd be like, what happened to this thing? Like, again, I'm trying to show just how powerful AI is in this. It looks very, very convincing that this thing went through hell and back to get to the buyer if they sent me this photo. So pretty crazy. Here's a really simple one, this little creamer mug here. I told it to give it a very subtle hairline crack, and it gave it a very subtle hairline crack, very convincing. Like I could just see that, well, that's exactly the mug that I sent. I guess it got cracked during shipment. I don't want them to send that back to me. Like this one is very convincing, I think. Or here's a Yeti mug, just my old Yeti mug that I drink out of every day. I told it to put a few dents in it, and yeah, pretty good job. Looked like there's 2 dents on the left and right. Could very easily have happened during shipment, but nope, AI generated that. Here's a candle, and this is what it did. It came up with, it's pretty good. Like, you can see the shards of glass that look like they could match up very easily. Like, I don't know that a candle would break that way. That's beside the point, but still, just very powerful effect here to make a otherwise normal looking candle completely broken. And again, if somebody sent this to me, I would think, well, they dropped it. It didn't break in transit. They just dropped it because you can see the shards of glass on the desk. But what could you do to make it look like maybe it was damaged during shipment? So this one I put in a priority mail shipping box here with some filler around it. And I told AI, make it look like it was broken during shipment. And this is what it came up with. Like, again, very, very convincing. Not quite sure. I don't know why the candle broke in the way that it did. That's kind of weird. It looks unnatural. Honestly, if I spent more time with the AI prompt, I probably could have gotten it to look even more convincing. But this is just crazy. You could definitely see some people falling for this, thinking that they opened up their package and their Yankee candle was broken. So when in fact it just wasn't. I told AI to break it. So if you received a photo like this as proof, would you question it? I just think plenty of sellers wouldn't question it. They'd assume the buyer was being honest and just issue a refund, and they'd lose out both on the money and the item, which sucks. So if you get a photo like this and suspect it could have been manipulated by AI, what do you do? Well, first, start by looking really closely, right? AI-generated images often have really subtle flaws, like warped edges or unnatural lighting or inconsistent shadows or surface textures that just don't quite match reality. If the image includes text, like on a label or a tag or a box, or even in the background, that's often a dead giveaway. You'll see like gibberish or crooked letters or words that almost look right but fall apart on closer inspection. Like, look closely at my candle example. You can see that it didn't quite get the name of the candle right. It should say sparkling snow. I don't know what it says. Another red flag is how the damage itself looks, right? If it's too symmetrical or too centered or oddly perfect, like it was designed for dramatic effect, that's often a clue as well. Real damage is rarely that photogenic, Like, again, take the candle example I showed earlier. It looks great. I think it's an incredible job, but it's pretty weird that the candle wax itself broke in the way that it did, almost as if it was like a piece of Parmesan cheese or something. These are the types of things that you want to look for. But to be honest, I probably could have spent more time improving the quality of these AI fakes to remove some of those clues, so I think you just still have to be pretty careful. Also, there are plenty of online tools that claim to detect AI-generated images, but truthfully, they're just not very reliable, at least not for this. Most of the tools perform best with super high resolution, like AI artwork and that type of thing, not compressed product photos buried in eBay messages. So you can try them out, but I wouldn't base any refund decisions based on what they tell you. It's kind of more of a novelty than it is a defense. And AI, of course, is getting better over time. It's getting increasingly difficult to tell whether an image has been generated by AI or not. And this is going to make our jobs even harder going forward. And I suspect we're just not too far off from not being able to tell the difference at all. So that's fun. But regardless of whether you think a photo was manipulated by AI or not, there's a simple way to beat this scam. And that is, you don't offer refunds without a return. Ever. If a buyer reaches out with a complaint, here's the response that you tell them. You say, you're welcome to open up a return and send the item back for a full refund. Don't go back and forth with the buyer. Just say that message and stop responding if they keep asking questions. Legitimate buyers are going to follow through, right? Scammers who are just trying to get a refund while they keep the item won't. And they're going to push and prod and threaten and do all sorts of things when you tell them that. And anyone pushing hard for a refund without a return is waving a giant red flag. So don't let them take advantage of you. This policy to not refund without a return is going to protect you. But it does mean you're going to lose out on some money, unfortunately, right? If the item really did get damaged, you're going to pay to have a box of broken junk mailed back to you. That's the cost here. So when you're evaluating potentially damaged items in the future, just keep all of this in mind. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, right? You're saying, what if these scammers leave negative feedback when I refuse to give them a refund without sending it back? And yeah, they might. That's kind of the risk here, right? But the truth is, negative feedback just doesn't matter as much as it used to. If you sell on eBay long enough, you're going to get some. I just got one the other day. It's just part of the job, but a few negative feedback here and there is not going to tank your account. And even eBay advertises this fact directly on their website. They say receiving negative or neutral feedback doesn't impact seller performance. So there you go. You can relax a little. Unless you're doing things really wrong, like constantly canceling orders or always shipping late or packing poorly or ignoring buyers, you're going to be totally fine. So this scam is definitely sneaky, right? It preys on your instinct to keep buyers happy, but the best way to protect your store and your money is to have a clear policy and stick to it. No returns without a refund, right? No partial refunds. Make the buyer do the work. If they're trying to scam you, they won't. And that is how you beat it. All right, let's move on to my numbers for the week. I had a really big week. Look at this. Gross sales, $4,425, and a net sales of $2,686 over the last 7 days. Just an incredible amount of money, very high. Again, I do this part-time, and so my goal is $600 net per week. So that was over $2,000 more than my goal for the week. And a lot of it has to do with that bulk buy that I bought 2 weeks ago. If you didn't see last week's video, I talked about in detail this bulk buy that I made. I spent about $11,000 on this crazy big bulk buy. A lot of this stuff is selling right now. $90 is my average gross per sale. My average net per sale, $53. And my net profit margin, right on target, 61%, but just crazy numbers, $2,686 in net sales for the week. Again, it's Q4. So that's, all these things are coming together. I have a huge influx of good inventory, and it's Q4, so my numbers are just much higher than they normally are. Scrolling on down here, let's look at net return by marketplace. So I'm selling a lot of this stuff from the bulk buy on Facebook. I don't normally sell on Facebook, but I'm sucking it up and I'm selling stuff on Facebook, and it's not too bad. Actually, I've learned some pretty good methods and some pretty good processes that make it bearable. And so I'm going to do a video in the future about how to sell on Facebook Marketplace without going insane. I would rather not sell on Facebook Marketplace, but it is pulling in some pretty good money for the inventory that I happen to have. But my eBay sales were just over $1,700, right around there in net return, and Facebook brought in right around $1,000 in net return for the last 7 days. I spent $0 on new inventory, which is good, right? I just spent $11,000 the week prior, so I don't need to be buying any more inventory for some time. I'll still go outsourcing here and there, but this is going to tide me over for the winter, right? Garage sales are gone. Estate sales are still here. Flea markets are kind of hit and miss. Thrift stores obviously are still here. So I'll still go to some of those things, but it's nice that I don't need to spend money on new inventory right now because I already spent a ton. The cost of goods that sold, $759. Marketplace fees, I paid $442 over the last 7 days, and shipping labels, $403. I would expect my marketplace fees and shipping labels to be higher based on my total net return and gross sales. But remember, more than half of these sales came from Facebook Marketplace with cash, where there's no fees and no shipping labels. So that's why it continues to be low. Only 22 new listings. So I've been focused on getting a lot of the big bulky stuff from this bulk buy out of my house. And so I've been putting those things on Facebook Marketplace and selling those things. I'm still listing on eBay, but not as much as I typically do because my goal is 35 per week. So it's a little bit lower, but I had 71 sales. And so there's a huge amount of stuff going out of the house this week, which is nice. 21 days is my average time to list. 4 months is my average time to sell. 332% is my return on investment. Now, it's interesting to see my return on investment go down because of this bulk buy. That's why it's going down, because my cost of goods are higher for this bulk buy. And so my net margins are good, my net return is good, but my ROI is about half of what it usually is because my cost of goods is higher. But that was expected. That's what comes with the territory of bulk buys, typically, at least something like this, where it was all brand new electronics and things like that. You're just paying more for the inventory, and so your return on investment tends to be lower. All right, let's go ahead and jump into my top 10 sales, starting with this guy, Ticket to Ride. If you played this game, we have this game, like not the kids version. This is the kids version, but we have Ticket to Ride at home. I've personally never played it. My family's played it. I don't like board games. I don't know. Sorry. I know there's probably a lot of board game fans out there, but I don't know. Honestly, it's like a workaholic type thing. It's very hard for me to have downtime. That's something with reselling that's interesting that I'm sure y'all experience as well, which is that it's really hard to not just fill every piece of time with stuff that you hope is going to make you money. I certainly have an issue with that. It's very hard for me to just relax and not do anything. Maybe that's connected to my low interest in playing board games. That's where I was going with this. But anyway, this thing sold. It took 2 years. This is kind of interesting. Where did I get this thing? Salvation Army for $5. And I sort of bought it. It was brand new in box. It was sealed. I bought it thinking, oh, this will sell quickly. 2 years. So not quickly at all. And I only made $8.37. So just goes to show you, I have no idea what I'm talking about sometimes, including this time. So I don't know. I have no idea why this took so long to sell. Maybe I had it a bit overpriced. Probably so. You can probably go to Target and get this for like 20, 25 bucks. So coming in at number 9 are these Dickies workwear jeans. Fortunately, they don't have a stain on the butt like I showed with the AI generated image earlier, but these sold for $33.98. It took about a month to sell. My net return, $15.27. I think I picked up 5 of these. I picked up 4 of these at a garage sale. So 2 have sold and I still have 2 listed. My total gross sale on both of the sales was $70.96. My net return, including the cost of goods that haven't sold yet, are $25.20. And my net return on the stuff that has sold is $35.20. So not too bad. Got 2 more to sell and I will end up netting probably right around 50 bucks on this buy. Coming in at number 8, I bought this at a garage sale about 6 months ago. This is a Toy Story Pizza Planet ugly Christmas sweater. I bought it over the summer. I knew it wasn't going to sell anytime soon, and it took 6 months to sell. Makes sense, right? People are probably planning for their ugly Christmas sweater parties right now. It sold for $36.98. Cost to ship, $6.17. My net return for the 8th best flip of the week, is that right? 8? Yeah. 8th best flip of the week is $19.33. Honestly, I overpaid for this. Like, I remember I picked it up and I was like, oh, I'm sure they'll ask like $1 or $2 for it. And they said $5 and I was like, ew. But I went ahead and bought it anyway and it worked out. That's fine. Coming in at number 7 is this Fasten Master. These are stainless steel deck screws or deck fastening systems. I got a couple of these, right? How many of these? I got 4 of these that came from the big bulk buy. The first one sold for $59.99. My net return, $29.19. So I still have another 3 to sell. We'll walk through the bulk buy and see how it's doing here in a minute as we keep going through the top 10 list. Surprisingly, this thing only cost $8.59 to ship. It was heavy, probably weighed 20 pounds. So I'm surprised that only went $8.59. Looks like we sent it post office to it. Must have been going somewhere close by. Coming in at number 6 is this Kohler Venza valve trim. So this is just like the thing that you turn in the shower to make the water go hot or cold and at a certain pressure. This thing sold, took 7 months, $59.99. Looks like, yeah, this is becoming very common for me, by the way, where I let Flipwise relist it and then I change the price a little bit, especially if it's been relisted a couple times. So I let Flipwise relist this. A couple days later, I dropped the price of this and a lot of different stuff by 10 bucks, and then it sold the next day. And so this is becoming a pretty common scenario for me, is just relisting and then dropping the price slightly. In fact, I think we're going to build that in to Flipwise, the auto relisting feature, to just automatically drop the price by a certain percentage if it's been relisted a certain number of times and give you a threshold to make sure you don't go too low on it. So I think we're going to build that in because I'm doing that manually right now and it's just pretty effective. So I definitely want to automate that. This came from a bulk buy, different bulk buy. This was a bunch of fixtures that I bought about 8 months ago. Looks like there's about $3,600 of total list value left, and with 60% margins, that's about $18,000 to $2,000 of net return left. I've made just over $5,000 on it. So I'll make between $6,000 and $7,000 on this after everything is sold. Coming in at number 5 is this vintage Big Smith hat. This is a railroad engineer cap. I've had this thing for a super long time. This came from a garage sale over 2 years ago. So this thing, well, it did take 8 months to list. I'm not quite sure why I took so long to list this thing. It was probably like sitting in a box and then I realized that it had some good value. I was like, oh crap, I should list it. But even then it still took over 2 years to sell, but at $64. So the net return on this, $47.35. I don't know much about this Big Smith cap, except I do know of a band named Big Smith from Springfield, Missouri. Maybe that's where they got their name. I don't really know. Anyway, this thing, $64. My net return, $47.35. Yeah, not a bad buy. Took a while to sell, but who cares? All right, coming in at number 4 is this Electro Harmonics Space Drum. This is a synthesizer, so I don't exactly know what this thing is other than it somehow makes sounds when you hit it. But this thing, I was not able to test it, so I sold it as is. And it sold for $200, which is just kind of crazy to be selling this thing, or $209 with shipping included on that. Just kind of crazy to be selling something like this for parts effectively still at $200. It may very well may work, but I just didn't have the power cable and I was like, we'll just get it out the door. This was on consignment. That's why you see this expense applied of $79.59. So I'm splitting the net return 50-50 with the person I'm consigning with. You also see like a shipping debit applied here. That's because we made a mistake on the first I forgot to buy insurance. And so you'll see this original cost to ship, $10.10. Then I bought insurance on it. I forgot to buy insurance on it. So I canceled that label and repurchased with insurance. So that's what this 1728 is. And then once eBay refunds me for that second label, Flipwise will ingest that automatically. So anyway, my net return will go up slightly on this one. Coming in at number 3, this one was super interesting. I had like 3 or 4 different filters for a camera that came from a bulk buy. And I had no idea that filters could be as expensive as I've now learned that they can be. This one sold in 3 days for $106.99. It went all the way to Australia. I just had no idea that filters could be this expensive. In my mind, like a filter would be worth $30 maximum. I don't know, but this is a used filter for $106.99. And this was one of the cheaper ones of the 4 or 5 filters that I have in this bulk buy. So just an incredible amount of money. It's definitely a new category for me. I'll definitely be paying attention to camera filters. I'm sure there's cheap ones too, but this one was a good one. And I've got some other ones that are just sort of crazy expensive. My net return on it, $88.05. Coming in at number 2, this came off of that $11,000 bulk buy. This is Rust-Oleum Rock Solid. It's like a garage, I guess you paint your garage with it and it gives it a nice look and feel. I don't really know. I don't know exactly what it does, but these things, I had 2 of them listed at $175 each, and the same buyer bought both for $350 total. My net return, $235.65 on this. I had no idea that this stuff was so expensive. It's $175 a box, and that's like a good deal. I think I looked on Home Depot. I can't remember. It might have been over $200. So this person got a great deal. I got some good margins on it as well. Both people are happy. $235.65 for the second best flip of the week for this rock solid garage floor kit. That leaves us with number 1. Y'all saw me talk about this last week. This came off of the bulk buy. These are infrared outdoor heaters. I think I got 149 of them in total off of eBay, and they are just flying out of my house. I've got so many people coming by to pick these up. And look at this, in 2 weeks, in the 2 weeks since I've listed these on Facebook Marketplace, I've sold 37 of them. I've had one person bought 7 of them. It's crazy how fast these are flying off the shelves. Part of the reason they're flying off the shelves is because I've got them priced really well. I'm selling them for $40 a piece. At Home Depot, I looked on the website, they're $105 a piece. And so I could charge a little bit more for them, but they would sell slower. And honestly, I need to get them out. They take up a lot of space. I still get $28 a piece net return for every single one of them that sells, which I'm totally happy with. And so they're just flying off the shelves at this price. I've grossed $1,490 just from selling these from these bulk buy. But let's go ahead and take a look at the bulk buy and see how it's doing here. So 13 days ago is when I got it, not quite 2 weeks. I spent $11,000, as you can see there. The total active list value, I don't have everything listed on eBay. And even of the stuff that I do have listed on eBay, I don't have all the quantities listed. And that's just because I'm pacing it out a little bit. eBay, their automation tends to look for significant changes in store volume and size as a potential red flag. And so there are situations where sellers will get flagged and have to provide receipts. Fortunately for this bulk buy, the person I bought it from did have all the receipts, which they gave to me. So I'm not worried in the long run. I just would rather not deal with that hassle. So I'm pacing this stuff out and not listing all of it at once on eBay. And I'm selling a lot of it on Facebook Marketplace as well. So I've grossed a total of $5,196. So I'm 40% of the way to getting my money back on this 13 days in. So I'm pretty happy with that. My goal was by the end of the year to be break even on it. And I think I'm definitely going to hit that. If I don't, that's going to be a little bit upsetting, but I think I'm definitely going to hit that. My net return on everything that is sold so far, my realized net return is $3,340. So that's not including the cost of unsold goods. And so I basically netted $3,340. Now, if you include the cost of unsold goods, my net's negative $6,000. That's a negative 60% ROI. And so it's just a good way of seeing how close you're tracking towards getting your money back. And then obviously how much money you're making on top of that. And the net return realized just makes me understand understand how the stuff I'm selling is performing. And so it's performing pretty well, right? 300% ROI on the stuff that has sold. So I'm doing very well on this bulk buy. Hopefully the momentum continues. It's not even that cold here, and I suspect that as the weather cools off, I think it's supposed to next week, that these heaters are going to start going even faster than they already are. So, all right, lights out. So, Thanksgiving week. That's crazy. I can't believe it's already Thanksgiving. That's so weird. And then I'm going to be saying, like, in a month's time, I can't believe it's already Christmas. That's how it goes these days, though. Things just move so fast. Are y'all doing something for Thanksgiving? I'm fortunately not going anywhere. I'm very excited to do nothing and just stay at home. We've got some family coming in, but it's just nice not to have to get up and go anywhere for the holidays this year. So I'm looking forward to that. No travel, no flying, no messing with that, no driving. So I'm excited to just stay home and continue to sell these heaters because they are just going crazy. And truthfully, I need the space. And so I've got I think y'all saw pictures of my garage is completely stuffed. I couldn't even park my car in there anymore. I've got all that stuff moved down into the basement now. So that's a relief. It took me a few hours to get it all moved down there. I had the bigger stuff still sitting in the garage, but at least in a way where I can still park. And that bigger stuff I've got listed on Facebook Marketplace and selling pretty quick. So I think it'll be out of the garage pretty soon. But anyway, yeah. Happy Thanksgiving, y'all. I really, to talk about being thankful of stuff, like very thankful for the support that y'all give me with this channel. Every week, y'all show up and watch my videos. How crazy is that? I just never would have thought that would have happened. And I'm just really grateful for the support that y'all have given me over the years. And so thank you. Thank you for watching my videos. I really appreciate it. And we'll see you next week.